I was with Liam Carter for 10 years, and I thought we were getting married. But he kept putting it off, and he wouldn't even wear the diamond ring I designed myself. It felt like he didn't care about me as much as he used to. He stopped cuddling me every night before bed, and often stayed at work overnight, saying he had to work late. We also started to communicate less. When he was home, he was always on the balcony, talking on the phone, and it sounded like he was having a good time. Later, I accidentally discovered that he was with his secretary Sophia Bennett, and I heard him sarcastically criticizing me with cold and mean words. He said that as you get older, your skin will become loose. That older woman is not as young and pretty as you, and she is more pleasing to the eye. Since he doesn't want to get married, I support his choice. After I left in disappointment, he frantically searched for me everywhere. For our anniversary, I booked our usual restaurant and bought a cake to celebrate, and I wanted to talk to Liam Carter about getting the wedding back on the agenda. But he was clearly distracted, eating like he was chewing wax, and every now and then he glanced at his phone. His brow was furrowed and he looked restless. I thought it was because the food didn't suit his taste, but I'd ordered everything he usually likes. "What's going on?" I asked him. Liam Carter put down his chopsticks with a displeased expression and complained that I should stop asking him to go out to dinner with me all the time, as he had been very busy recently. But we hadn't been out to dinner together for a long time. Today was our 10th anniversary, and I was a little sad that he had forgotten such an important day. Realizing that he hadn't been paying much attention, Liam Carter quickly said, "I'm sorry, darling. There's been a lot going on at work recently, and I've been working overtime. I'm tired. I'm sorry, baby, I shouldn't have lost my temper with you." Liam Carter took my hand and stroked it gently. My throat felt a little tight and I couldn't find the words to say. Over the years I've come to know him well, and I knew he was lying. I looked straight at him. My eyes moved to his hands and I saw the ring mark on his ring finger. I remembered how happy he was when he received the ring, spinning me around and feeling like the happiest person in the world. But now he has taken off the ring, and no matter how I pout or get angry, he is unwilling to put it back on. He is also reluctant to mention the wedding, always dragging his feet. Just as I was about to explain, his phone suddenly rang. Liam Carter panicked, pulled his hand back, knocking over the wine glass next to him. The glass shards cut my leg, causing some blood. The red wine also dripped onto my white skirt. He didn't notice me at all and picked up the phone to answer it. I watched him quietly and noticed that his face was getting worse and worse, and the veins on his neck were bulging. At this time, I vaguely heard a girl crying, saying, "Brother Cheng, come save me. I'm delivering a contract to a client, and they won't let me leave. I'm so scared." Without the slightest hesitation, Liam Carter suddenly stood up, and the harsh sound of the chair scraping against the floor broke the tranquility around us and also brought us closer together. Without hesitation, he walked away, completely ignoring me, and went to chat up some other girls. I felt numb all over, and it was only after a while that the pain in my leg brought me back to reality. The waiter immediately brought a first aid kit and carefully treated my wound. He also asked if I needed to go to the hospital for a checkup. I shook my head to refuse and stared blankly at the cake on the table. This was my favorite mango cake, which I had specially made to celebrate my birthday, but for me, I would never be able to eat it in this life. Thinking about this, I felt dizzy. My hands were red and swollen from cutting the mangoes, and they hurt badly, but I didn't make a sound. Now I feel very tired and my heart hurts. Tears welled up in my eyes. I felt uneasy inside, thinking about one thing: he betrayed me. I sat there until the shop closed, and then I called a taxi home in a daze. Looking out the window at the rapidly receding scenery, I felt like a ball of confusion, unable to sort things out, and I was especially irritable. I wondered when we had actually lost the desire to share, and no longer had the passion of being in love, and life gradually became calm without the slightest fluctuation. I suddenly remembered what happened a year ago. That night, Liam Carter came back from outside and threw the ring on the table in a bad mood, saying that next time don't let me wear this kind of cheap stuff. I'm in a different position now, it's embarrassing. He started to dislike the things I bought for him, like cufflinks, ties and clothes. He felt that I had poor taste and that these things were cheap and didn't match his current status. Not only that, he became increasingly indifferent towards me, and even interfered in my work at the company so that I could stay at home with peace of mind. I thought it was because he was worried about me working hard outside, but now it seems that he just felt ashamed of me. When I got home, I endured the pain in my leg while searching for the tablet he used yesterday in the guest room. Luckily, WeChat had not been deleted. My hands were shaking a little as I looked through his contacts and records and found a girl named Baby with a cute profile picture. The chat history was full of the word baby, which made me feel a little uncomfortable. This is really funny. He actually tagged me as an old woman. I opened her Moments and instantly recognized who she was. It was that secretary that Liam Carter didn't like very much. At first, he complained to me that the HR department had hired someone who was incompetent and couldn't even make a good cup of coffee. I joked that maybe she was just a young girl who needed to be given a little more understanding. At the time, I couldn't even remember her name. But now I suddenly realize that Sophia Bennett has become an insurmountable obstacle between us. And Liam Carter's nickname for her has changed from Stupid Assistento Stupid and then to Softy. I was a little jealous at first, but then he put his arm around me, kissed me on the cheek and said that I was the only wife he would ever have. I believed him and didn't care. Then things got worse. It was my birthday and Sophia Bennett went to the bar alone. She called and cried, saying she'd met a bad guy and wanted Liam Carter to stay with her. At the weekend, she deliberately put herself between us and fed Liam Carter kebab sticks intimately. More and more of Sophia Bennett's shadow is creeping into my life. Now I want to celebrate our anniversary and think about getting married and settling down, but she can make a phone call that is more effective than mine. I tremble all over, and it turns out that everything has a traceable cause. He no longer wanted to continue a long time ago, but I was still immersed in the fantasy of love. Continue to scroll down through those records, and the intimate photos one after another stabbed my heart like knives. The dates were all the days he lied to me about working overtime, and the places were all the places I had painstakingly prepared for our dates, only to be stood up. What hurt even more was that many of her likes were from our mutual friends. They all knew the truth, but they all hid it from me, leaving me confused all by myself. So Liam Carter was actually dating Sophia Bennett when he asked me to work overtime during that period. He was always with her when he wasn't home. No wonder he wanted to move to the guest room and didn't want to sleep with me. It turns out he's been eating out for a long time. It's so ironic and ridiculous. Our 10 years of love were entwined like strong vines, but now they have withered and turned into a wasteland. What was once sweet has now turned bitter. I don't know when my tears made the screen wet, and now no matter how I swipe, it's not smooth. I dry my tears and dial my mother's number. My voice is a little choked up. Mom, I promised to get married abroad. My mother was very happy to hear this and kept saying yes, as if she hadn't noticed my emotions. She asked me, Victoria, are you crying? My mother doesn't want to put any pressure on you. If you really don't want to, then don't get married. My father said angrily, for that guy out there, you've even cut off your relationship with your own parents. What are you doing back here? I heard my mother angrily slap my father and say anxiously, your father is talking nonsense. He looks at your pictures every day. My heart has longed for you to come back. Mom and Dad are getting old, and all we want is for the family to be reunited and for you to be happy. I was crying so hard I couldn't stop. Mom and Dad were over there, worried sick, and kept asking me what was wrong. After a while I said, it's okay, I just missed you guys. Come home, sweetheart. My dad sighed, and that was the first time he had ever given in. I said, okay. Worried that they would worry too much, I explained several times that I was actually just homesick and that things had finally worked out. Crouched on the sofa, I suddenly realized how silly I was to be fighting with my parents over a man and running away from home. How naive. This time, I give up on you, Liam Carter. I looked it up, and it takes half a month to process a visa. In the meantime, I will properly end things between us and then never see you again. The next morning, Liam Carter came home early. He looked a little guilty, but more so happy and contented after stealing a moment of leisure. Seeing that I had been sitting on the sofa without moving, he came over, put the mango cake in his hand on the coffee table, and half squatted down to hand me a small bouquet of roses. I was pricked by the thorns on the rose and immediately retracted my hand. He thought I didn't want it, so he looked displeased and held my wrist even harder, forcing the thing into my hands. It seemed that this would alleviate his guilt. My hand was bleeding. I looked at him coldly. Don't you know that roses have thorns? I've already retracted my hand, and you still want to give it to me. Liam Carter suddenly felt guilty. He touched his nose, took out some tissue, and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Victoria. I didn't pay attention. I just silently looked at him without saying a word. Liam Carter felt a little embarrassed and brought me the cake on the coffee table. I'm sorry about yesterday, Victoria. I left you alone in the restaurant. Next time, I'll make it up to you, okay? Since his career had become more and more successful, he rarely showed his vulnerable side. At this time, he looked at me seriously, but I just wanted to laugh. It turned out that he was really good at acting. It made me feel like I had met true love and was willing to give up everything for him. Although he was feeling very nervous, he heard my teasing. After 10 years, don't you know that I'm allergic to mango? He instinctively wanted to argue back, but ended up unable to say anything. But yesterday I made him mango cake despite my allergy. He's the one who loves mango cake, never me. Liam Carter's face suddenly turned pale. He took my hand tightly and said, Victoria, don't be angry, okay? I really made a mistake. He went on to say that he couldn't imagine his future without you. Liam Carter, our future is already over. I will never trust you again. His eyes shone like a puppy's, pleading for forgiveness, but the tingling in my hand reminded me never to relent. Liam Carter tried to say something, but was interrupted by the phone's alert tone. He glanced down at the message, stood up quickly, grabbed his jacket and walked out the door. He said to Victoria, Honey, I'll come back tonight to have dinner with you. Something's come up at work, so I have to go first. As soon as he walked in, he didn't notice that I was pale and had a bandage on my leg. He didn't even care about the wound on my hand that he had caused, and he didn't even say a word to show his concern. I couldn't help but sneer, picked up the tablet, and unconsciously clicked on Sophia Bennett's circle of friends. She had just updated her status, holding a big bouquet of beautiful roses in her hands and smiling really happily. The caption was full of happiness. I received a lot of fresh roses and strawberry mousse cupcakes this morning. It turned out to be me. I'm really happy. Thank you, my brother Cheng. There was also a comment below saying that my brother was afraid that I would get hurt by the thorns on the roses, so he specially cut off all the thorns. How considerate! I understand. In fact, I'm just a small character who can be treated casually. The thorny roses were picked at random from that big bunch, and even the cupcakes were bought for me by the way. In all of this, I was just taking advantage of Sophia Bennett. Late at night, I received a text message from an unknown number saying that I was to wait for him at the hotel tonight at 33438. My eyebrows began to frown, and I seemed to understand who it was. When she saw that I didn't respond, she continued, saying that Ching was drunk and was calling your name, asking you to come pick him up. She knew that I had actually noticed a long time ago. I didn't want to get involved, but she kept sending messages, and since he was still my boyfriend, I decided to go check it out. Sophia Bennett's innocent face was flushed, and as she opened the door, she was wrapped in a towel, with obvious kiss marks on her neck and thighs. It seemed that she had had a very exciting experience. Victoria Anderson was there. Liam Carter was already dressed and sound asleep in bed, with dirty clothes scattered on the floor and a few more casually thrown around, all of which indicated that something intense had just happened. Sophia Bennett didn't say much, with a hint of defiance on her face. They had been dating for 10 years, but she still wouldn't give him a title. Maybe it was because it had been so long that her feelings in that regard had also deteriorated a bit. It had been so long already, so she should find someone suitable to marry sooner rather than later. I clenched my fists, but then let go. The visa is almost here, I can't afford any more problems. But Sophia Bennett knew my weak spot, and she took out her phone and played a recording, the voice of Liam Carter. As you get older, your skin sags. That woman is no match for you, you're young and beautiful, and more attractive. The tone of his voice was so harsh that I froze, almost unable to breathe. What followed was just the sound of a woman gasping in a man's voice, along with the sound of a violent collision. My mind went blank and I was in a complete state of confusion. I barely heard Sophia Bennett's subsequent warnings and threats. I felt particularly disgusted, really sick to my stomach. In the end, I ignored him and put him in another room, threw him on the floor and left. Even though I had already said I was giving up on him, it still felt like a stab in my heart. Tears just couldn't be held back. But fortunately, I was about to leave. I really didn't want to see them again. In the past few days, I haven't heard anything from Liam Carter. It seems that he is very busy with Sophia Bennett in his circle of friends and has no time to spare. This is actually quite good, as it saves me the trouble of having to spend time coaxing him, so that I can concentrate on packing and applying for a visa. I have taken away all my belongings, and I have sent the larger items directly back to my parents' home. I have sold the rest online. Now I'm sitting on the sofa, my fingers trembling slightly, looking through our photo albums. From the young and innocent us at the age of 18, to starting a business together at the age of 22, and now to being successful in our careers, the time we spent together has become less and less, and there are fewer and fewer photos of us together. I smile, and as I smile, I cry. I can barely remember that passionate youth, and I can only remember that now there are trivial things all over the place, making people feel breathless. I casually threw the photo album into the fire and watched it burn slowly. The fiery red light shone on my face, and the heavy stone in my heart finally let go. Liam Carter, this time I decided not to worry about you anymore. I turned around and looked at the emptying house. I really felt a little reluctant when I thought about all the time we had spent together over the years. When we first graduated, we shared a small 5-square-meter room and spent the whole year huddled together. It was freezing cold in winter, unbearably hot in summer, and even mice and cockroaches came to visit every day. I had never experienced such difficult times, but that did not affect our relationship. I could see his kindness and love for me very clearly. If he had $10 in his pocket, he would spend $9 to buy me a bowl of ravioli. He would also carefully put the ring of a kin on my hand, saying that when he had money, he would definitely marry me, buy me a beautiful diamond ring and bag, and let me live in a big villa. When a customer wanted me to drink with him, he angrily smashed his glass and pulled me away without caring about the consequences. At the time, I scolded him for being so impulsive. For the first time, he leaned on my shoulder and cried, saying, "You've suffered so much because you followed me. You've never suffered, and it's all my fault. I will never let you suffer again." At that moment, I was the only one in his eyes. Our business finally started to improve, and our houses got bigger and bigger. But, from an unknown time onwards, these houses no longer felt like home. They became cold and unfamiliar. And now, the distance between us is growing. I suddenly thought of a lot of details, my chest rising and falling, and my anger rising. Because just yesterday, he bought Sophia Bennett 2 designer bags. I have worked so hard with him for so many years, and now he is leaving without a penny. How can I let those people easily enjoy his wealth? The more I thought about it, the more I felt that I could not lose out, so I took the secondary card he gave me and went straight to the mall. When I saw a bag I liked, I bought it without hesitation. When I saw nice clothes, I bought them. When I saw beautiful gold and diamonds, I bought them too. I took everything home that I liked. I was dreaming if I thought that I would save money and let you take advantage of me. After buying so many things, I thought about how I hadn't bought a pair of suitable high heels for a long time, so I just looked for a nice shop to look around. As soon as I entered the shop, I froze. Liam Carter had a smile on his lips and was half squatting in front of a shy girl, gently holding her ankle. I don't know what they said to each other, but the girl was laughing happily. I saw him grab the high heels and gently help Sophia Bennett put them on. After she was dressed, she happily continued to listen to Liam Carter's compliments, and Liam Carter even leaned down and kissed the top of her foot. This suddenly reminded me of something, and my heart felt a little sour. It was the year after I graduated from high school, and I was excited to drag Liam Carter to try on high heels. I had seen a lot of videos of guys putting high heels on girls, and I wanted to be like that and beg him. But he obviously said, "Victoria, this is a public place, with so many people around. You still have to pay attention to your image when you're out. Be good, and pick your own clothes." It was unbearable. They really went too far. Sophia Bennett, wearing a red fishtail dress and a sparkling ruby necklace around her neck, excitedly twirled in front of Liam Carter, showing off her cute side, and then I saw her kiss him on the cheek. The waiters all praised them for being a good match. I think they really are a couple. A guy who can't be trusted and a girl who is not very good. It's really infuriating. Suddenly, she covered her mouth in surprise and then looked at me with those bright eyes and said, "Victoria, you're here too. You saw what happened. I didn't mean to do it. Ching wanted to take me to the party, so he bought me a dress and high heels, and even let me wear an expensive ruby necklace." I was so happy that I lost my temper. "In the end," she said with some grievance, "you're not going to blame me, are you?" Her voice was heavy with accusation, as if to say, I have been with him for so many years, and I have never received anything decent. A party? I didn't know anything about it. Her look of grievance made me feel like a petty and jealous person. Liam Carter pulled her and hurriedly came over to hold my hand, saying, "Victoria, she is just emotional. Don't be angry, don't argue with the little girl." A year ago, these words would have sounded particularly relevant. Seeing that I was silent, he pretended to be angry and turned around, launching into a tirade, saying, "You'd better not go to the party. What if what you're doing gives people the wrong idea?" I understood that when he said other people, he was actually referring to me. I calmly took his hand, looked at Sophia Bennett, who looked a little aggrieved, and said bluntly, "You're right, it's best to avoid situations like this to avoid embarrassment. But I don't think buying a dress and some shoes is a big deal. Your female companion is so important, how could she embarrass you?" Seeing my calm face, he panicked a little and turned to criticize Sophia Bennett, telling her to behave. He didn't say it out loud, and Sophia Bennett just snorted and turned around. I really can't imagine how angry he would have been if I had been there. When the standoff reached a stalemate, Sophia Bennett suddenly turned around, embraced Liam Carter tightly, gave him a big kiss, and said provocatively, "I've long since stopped pretending. Chingu already said he would marry me. If you have a little self-awareness, just leave on your own, so as not to make a laughing stock of everyone. I've never seen such a shameless person. This time I really can't hold back anymore." Decisively, I raised my hand and slapped the other person twice. "I've seen snobs before, but never one as blatant as you. How can you take the initiative to belittle yourself to please others? It really makes people feel uncomfortable. You're always screaming, 'Are you a hen? Go away!'" Liam Carter's face began to break out in cold sweat, and he became a little flustered. But Sophia Bennett refused to let go, holding him tightly around the waist, her body pressed close, her cheeks red and her eyes red as well. He hurriedly said, "Victoria is not what you think. What exactly is she like?" I sneered, and slapped him hard. "It's obvious that this has happened so many times, why pretend to be stupid? We struggled together, but I found you turning around and spending money on other women. Oh, it's still that good secretary you keep complaining about. You're willing to spend tens of millions on her, but I buy a bag for a few thousand and you blame me. Liam Carter, let's break up. I never want to see you again in this life. Go away, you're such a disappointment." I turned around and prepared to leave, but I couldn't help but turn back. I saw Liam Carter's smile on his face. "You really do believe in me." I glared at him and ripped the bright red ruby necklace off Sophia Bennett's neck. I couldn't let her get too carried away. Her wound hurt, and she cried in distress, going to Liam Carter to complain. I didn't care, and I didn't want to look back at the two of them tugging behind me. I think that whether you are in a relationship or married, you need to have a certain level of financial strength to gain the respect of the other person. But I was stupid enough to give up my initiative before. I quickly took a taxi home and sold the necklace online on the way. I don't want her used things. I feel very uncomfortable. I dragged my suitcase home and finally looked at the place where I had lived for many years. I had many emotions in my heart. Liam Carter, I hope we will never see each other again in this life. Liam Carter and Sophia Bennett had a nasty argument, and the scene ended up being very awkward. He felt a sharp pain in his heart, as if he were about to lose something important. In a panic, he drove through several red lights and finally returned to their home. The house was very quiet and felt empty. He hurried upstairs to the bedroom, opened the closet and jewelry cabinet, and found them all empty. Liam Carter instinctively took out his phone and called me. This was the first time in 10 years that something like this had happened. Even though I had argued with him about something before, I had never considered leaving. On the way to the airport, my phone kept ringing. Liam Carter kept sending me messages. At first it was just a series of text messages. "Where are you? Hurry back. If you come back, I'll let bygones be bygones and stop getting angry. We're getting married soon, and I'm really embarrassed that you're leaving now. But I only got a little close with my secretary. Why do you care so much? I can't spend the rest of my life without contact with the opposite sex, can I? A little close, and you ended up sleeping together. Just a little kiss, and you call that a little?" The funny thing is, he once said that if I got jealous, he was willing to spend the rest of his life without contact with the opposite sex. I didn't realize it was just a casual comment. I was about to block him, but then the phone rang. I hung up straight away, but then I got a whole bunch of voice messages. "Victoria, why did you hang up on me? I know you saw it, so reply to my message quickly." Then his tone became gentle. I know it's my fault. I shouldn't have taken her to the party. But you never liked these kinds of occasions, did you? Besides, Sophia complained to me that she'd never been to an event like this before, so I wanted to make her happy. Don't be angry. Come back, okay? I covered my face with my hands, feeling like a huge stone was weighing on my heart, and I couldn't breathe. He had forgotten that I used to love lively occasions. He said he was jealous of the way other people looked at me, and wanted to hide me at home, just for him. For his sake, I rarely go to places like this anymore. After calming down, I sent him the evidence I had previously collected of Liam Carter's infidelity. After 10 years of being in a relationship, you betrayed us first. You have no right to mention marriage to me again. Stop using Sophia Bennett as an excuse. The problem is that you can't control yourself. Even if she's not around, there will be Li Xiaowei, Wang Xiaohong, and so on in the future. I thought I had loved you for 10 years, and we still had a long future together. But you personally severed the connection between us. When you left me without hesitation to chase after another woman, we no longer had a chance. We are saying goodbye, and I hope you will not disturb me again in the future. 10 years of affection and youth have been wasted. Let's break up and never see each other again. After sending the message, I immediately blocked the other person to avoid being disturbed again. As soon as the plane landed, I broke the SIM card off and threw it in the trash. Back at home, I couldn't help crying when I saw my parents' gray hair. I felt sorry for them and felt unfilial. But my parents still held me in their arms while they cried, saying over and over again that it was good to be home. My parents didn't mention Liam Carter again, whom they didn't really like, and instead they were very concerned about my health. When I asked about it, they said with concern that I had lost weight and wanted me to get back to my old plump self. That day, I asked my parents with some confusion, "Didn't you say you had arranged a marriage for me? Why haven't I heard anything now?" My father pretended to be upset, saying that I had grown up and couldn't be kept, and that I wanted to get married as soon as I got back. I blushed when I heard this. My mother laughed and patted my hand, saying that I must have missed home since I had just returned, and encouraging me to spend time with them. I felt very comfortable, thinking that someone who could be so considerate must be a gentle and emotionally stable person. Do you remember this person? He was the chubby boy who lived next door when you were little. You used to let him call you Big Brother and take him around to have fun. My mother laughed and covered her mouth. Now that person is very handsome, definitely your type. And his career is also doing well. I heard that you agreed to get married, and he was so happy that he hurriedly started preparing. I still remember him as a little chubby kid. It's a pity that his family moved abroad when he was 10 years old. At that time, I blushed like a tomato and had to lower my head to eat. Before long, he asked me out. After all those years apart, I was still a little nervous. I never expected that he would no longer be the chubby child I knew, but a tall, handsome young man, holding a big bouquet of my favorite white eustomas. Its flower language represents eternal and pure love. Ethan Mitchell looked at me shyly and handed me the flowers. He said, "Long time no see, Big Brother." His tone was slightly up, and I couldn't help feeling a little ashamed when I heard this title. It has indeed been a long time. He showed me the design exhibition he was hosting, and the jewelry inside was really dazzling and attractive. I didn't realize you majored in design in college. I was deeply moved, because I also majored in design in college, and then switched to finance for Liam Carter. After the tour, we went to a Western restaurant for dinner together, and then he took me home. At the entrance to our home, we looked at each other. We spoke at the same time, Ethan Mitchell letting me go first. "Why do you want to marry me?" "Because I like you." His answer was unhesitating and sincere. "I've liked you since we were kids. You just never noticed me, and I studied design because of you. The design exhibition was also for you, and the jewelry was all made especially for you." I froze for a moment and opened my eyes. It turned out that someone had been silently liking me for so long without me noticing. But I've given my 10 years of youth to someone else. We also had 10 wonderful years together. Ethan Mitchell stroked my hair gently. He said, "If you don't want to marry me, I won't force you." "I do want to marry you." After I said goodbye to him, he kept sending me all kinds of jewelry and bags over the next few days, and the corner of my room was almost full. Later, when I asked him, he explained, "I want you to be the most beautiful bride, so I actually designed all this for you." I was speechless. After all, I only had 2 ears and a neck. I will wear them sometime in the future. Ethan Mitchell and I became closer and closer, and my heart gradually healed. My heart, which had once been wounded, was nourished by love and regained its vitality. After choosing my wedding dress, I just needed to calm down and wait for the day of my wedding. I didn't need to worry about anything, because Ethan Mitchell would arrange everything I liked. On the night before the wedding, a former colleague sent me a video. Liam Carter got drunk in the bar and started causing trouble. He was throwing bottles around, making a lot of noise, and glass shards were flying everywhere, scaring passers-by into screaming. He was rambling, "Come back, Victoria. I really know I was wrong. Can't you just stay with me? I want to live a good life with you. We've been together for 10 years. 10 years. We're getting married soon." He said this, choking with emotion, and then collapsed on the floor, crying. He leaned against the sofa and vented his emotions, saying, "I'm wrong. I really know I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. It's my bad." He suddenly hit his hand hard, crying bitterly, "Victoria, come back. I really can't accept losing you. I already have no home. I can't lose you again. Please don't leave me." There was still time in the video, but I wasn't interested in watching it any longer. People like this are just passing through my life. There's no point in wasting time. I told my colleagues not to mention Liam Carter to me again in the future, and please tell him to stop causing trouble and embarrassing himself in the future. Since the relationship is over, there is no need to curry favor. There are always consequences for mistakes. Soon, my wedding to Ethan Mitchell arrived. Just as the host was about to let us exchange rings, he was suddenly interrupted by Liam Carter. "This can't be." His eyes were a little swollen and red, his beard was long, and he looked unkempt. "You belong to me. You can't marry him," he shouted. "Isn't the person you love the most me? I don't want you to marry him." Ethan Mitchell held my hand tightly, and I gave him a cold glance, thinking to myself, "Stop talking. This is my wedding. How come you came in without an invitation? Security, please escort him out." Liam Carter rushed on stage, pushed Ethan Mitchell away, grabbed me firmly by the shoulders and said, "Don't get married, okay? I'll marry you. Come with me. You're mine. 10 years. Our 10 years shouldn't end like this. I'm the one you love most." He choked up and said, "Not anymore, ever since you cheated on me." I raised my hand and slapped him. In fact, he knew everything and the consequences, but he still did it. It's my fault. I have completely cut off contact with Sophia Bennett. I will never have anything to do with her again, and I will protect you in the future. He fell to his knees and began to slap his face hard until his mouth was swollen and bleeding, but he refused to stop. "If that doesn't work, I'll try harder." "Don't do it yourself. I'm worried you'll hurt yourself. Trying to test me with your pathetic ways." I just looked at you quietly, then stood on tiptoe and gave Ethan Mitchell a loud kiss. "Victoria, can you give me another chance?" He was so angry, but I stopped him with a single sentence. I asked him, "Since you said you love me most, where is your ring?" Seeing his empty hand, I mocked, "If you can lose even your ring, how can you say you love me most? You will never get my forgiveness in this life, because you don't deserve it." He froze in his tracks, and the security guards quickly stepped forward and restrained him. I saw a few security guards drag him away, and he kept shouting, "Victoria, I love you. I love you." I let out a sigh of relief when I saw his figure disappear completely, and looked at Ethan Mitchell apologetically, thinking that I had interrupted the most important moment. "It's okay." Ethan Mitchell reassured me, and gave me a little kiss on the cheek. "No matter what happens, you'll always be mine." The wedding went off without a hitch. Ethan Mitchell and I were happily counting how much money we'd made that day. We were so happy that we were exhausted from counting. Ethan Mitchell respected my feelings and asked me carefully if I wanted to sleep separately or together. I couldn't help teasing him, saying that no newlyweds slept together, and if he wanted to argue with me. Ethan Mitchell was a little stunned, and then he pounced on me like a big dog and kissed me on the mouth. It seems that tonight is destined to be sleepless. My life will definitely be happy and wonderful from now on. Liam Carter was sent back to his own country because he was messing around in the street. He kept thinking about my words about how you just concluded that I love you the most, and he was very angry at home, rummaging through things and knocking everything off the shelves. He cried and screamed, looking around for the ring, but there was no sign of the ring anywhere. Liam Carter's hand was bleeding from a cut made by a piece of broken glass, but he didn't care at all. He just wanted to find the ring. He was a little out of control, trying to find proof that I loved him. Unfortunately, there was nothing in the house that showed any trace of my having lived there. Liam Carter finally gave up and knelt on the floor with his head bowed. I no longer wanted to keep any photos of us together. He finally understood that he could never have me again. I will never go back to loving him. He has lost the me who loved him the most. The remorse and guilt in his heart made him unable to help but pound on the floor with all his strength, letting out a painful cry. Liam Carter cried very sadly, not knowing how long it took before he finally reacted, got up, his eyes full of anger, and drove towards Sophia Bennett's house. Sophia Bennett thought Liam Carter wanted to go back when she opened the door. She was about to happily throw herself into his arms, but he grabbed her neck hard. "It's all your fault." How infuriating. If you hadn't fallen for me, Victoria would never have split up with me. Sorry, I can't fulfill that request. Sorry, I can't fulfill that request. Why else would she have left? Sophia Bennett rolled around in agony, covered in an unpleasant smell. She finally managed to pull herself together, got up and shouted, "It was your mistake. When I came to you, didn't you think she was getting old? When I was with you, didn't you say you were happy?" The blood dripping down her face made her look particularly frightening. "You weren't much better. You betrayed a 10-year relationship and you're accusing me? You gave up on it yourself, which is really ridiculous. You destroyed all those years of relationship yourself. People who betray true love should really pay the price." Liam Carter was touched a sore spot, infuriated, and kicked the other person several times. The two of them tangled together wildly. He was unconvinced. He was unwilling to accept that 10 years of relationship had just ended like that. Clearly he had only made one mistake, so why was he broken up with before I could forgive him? After that, Liam Carter often sent me messages, saying, "Victoria, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Can you look back at me? I don't care about your previous marriage experience. Come back, and we will live a good life together in the future. I will listen to you. If you tell me to go east, I will never dare to go west. Even if you tell me to stay at home with you all the time, I'm fine with that. I can give up my work and everything else. I just want to be with you. I'm really sorry, Victoria. Please forgive me." Even after I changed my phone number several times, he was still able to find me and continued to harass me. If he couldn't get in touch with me in the country, he would come to the country to find me. After being sent back, he would come over again and continue to send me messages. Later, I really had no choice but to let him harass me with his texts. After that, he stopped bothering me, and I thought he had changed his attitude and would not pester me anymore. However, it was a long time before I heard from him again. I heard that he had driven his car into Sophia Bennett on impulse, causing her serious injuries, and she had lost some of her limbs. Now she was lying in bed, her face unrecognizable from further injuries. Meanwhile, Liam Carter had donated half of his fortune to an orphanage and the other half to the China Charity Federation. At home, he swallowed a lot of needles and died. Because he did some crazy things, his former friends gradually distanced themselves from him. When he was found, his body had already decomposed, smelling very badly and crawling with worms. But none of this is my business. I am enjoying the delicious eggs that Ethan Mitchell has personally made, and I am contentedly lifting up his shirt to touch his abs. Do you like your husband's abs so much? Then your husband will take good care of you tonight. Ethan Mitchell nibbled on my earlobe lightly, or would you be happier if I cooked for you in just an apron next time? My dear wife. I was choked by his words and whispered, shameless. With my wife, what need is there for face? Ethan Mitchell kissed my cheek and said he was so lucky to have met me. I feel the same way.